All right, we are joined here by none other than legendary journalists right here. We've got Patrick Gower in the house. Let's go!
Yeah.
Patty, you're gonna have something. Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go. You guys have got to give me an out of 10 on that. What was that
That's
like?
a 10 right there.
Oh, come on.
All right, we'll give you an 8. We'll give you an 8. Just be nice, man. It is, man, it's real buzzy to be here. Like, I mean, being able to talk to you. You are a journalist yourself, and for me to be interviewing you, it's quite like on the flip side. It's very kind of nerve-wracking being able to talk to you right now, man.
Oh no, you don't need to have any nerves at all, bro. This is awesome. It's actually an honour for me to be here. This is my first time on this station. It's awesome.
Nice. Yeah. Well, we're very glad to have you here at New FM and also on the Morning Shack as well.
Yes, on the Morning Shack. Let's go, New FM.
Oh man, so Patty, you've got your doco that's coming out. Patrick Gower on all drugs. It's coming out tonight. So what's it been like? Like a 5-year journey? Or?
Yeah, bro. So 5 years ago, I made a documentary on cannabis, and I've ended up investigating cannabis. I've ended up investigating pee in New Zealand. I've ended up investigating alcohol. People have seen that. I realised that actually I had an alcohol problem and that I was an alcoholic. Wow. I don't drink anymore. And now I'm sort of looking into all the drugs, MDMA, mushrooms, things I haven't looked at before, and drug laws as well. Whether our drug laws fit with what's happening out in society.
Well, how's it been like with that? Because I mean, we're all going to see it tonight. What was your findings as of then, like with all the drugs?
Yeah. Well, what happened, bro, was it's pretty freaky when you look at something like cannabis, which can actually do some really good stuff. Like, for instance, my mum died of cancer and it was really, really painful. And people who are watching, will know how shitty it is when someone that you love is in so much pain. Yeah. And actually, medical weed could have helped my mum. That's a fact, right? Yeah. I've seen with pee, well, arresting people for small amounts, it ain't going to do jack shit. We need to help those people, sure. Arrest the gangs and all that sort of stuff, but the more minor users, we need to get them off the drug rather than punish them, right? And then with alcohol, well, what's up with that? I was an alcoholic. You can buy alcohol anywhere. It causes a huge amount of harm. Look at all the places that you can get it just around where we are right now. So that's completely legal. But all this other stuff is all sort of boxed away and, chuck people in jail or give them a criminal conviction or something like that. And I just thought, look, that's pretty stuffed up. And that's why I want to look at it and go, have we got the right drug laws in this country?
Speaking about the justice system, there are people getting away with murder. Like I've seen a lot of people get home D and stuff like that, and yet we're getting people that are getting like a lot more harsher crimes for like what you're saying, like first time users or like being caught and stuff like that. What's your take on the whole justice system on that?
Yeah, and I think that the justice system in New Zealand is racist. This is just a fact. There's a lot of statistics to back up what I'm saying, but the simple fact is this: as a white guy, it's very, 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 very unlikely that I would ever get done for possessing a small amount of weed or a small amount of MDMA or something like that. Yeah. But flip side, if you're Pacifica or Maori, actually, there's a pretty good chance the cops are going to do you for that and use that law. So, in my opinion, well, what's up with that law? Like, why have we got a law that has been applied to one sector of society, and let's face it, one colour, and not to another colour? Like, if you're using drugs, you should all be done. But, we don't see cops, running in and busting people at Rhythm and Vines, and launching a massive giant raid there and arresting 20,000 people. So what's with the laws, right?
We've got it backwards a little bit, right?
We've got it backwards, and it's been used in the wrong way. And that's the question really that I want to raise, in this documentary is, hey, have we got these laws right? And I think it's the kind of thing that we should be talking about.
Do you feel like there is a lot of support out there for those who are trying to come off the drugs? Or
I don't think there's anywhere enough for people trying to, particularly I think the one drug we've got a problem with getting people off is methamphetamine. Yeah. Like, we need to get people off that. There is no point in anyone who is on methamphetamine being arrested, outside of the big dealers. Like, if it's a user of methamphetamine, we need to be figuring out how to get them off the stuff. It's actually cheaper to put someone through treatment than put them through jail. Wow. So less money for the taxpayer to actually get someone off something and potentially give them another shot at life then, lock them up inside. They still come out. They'll still be addicted. They'll, most likely be worse.
Yeah.
So we need to completely change the way that we're doing stuff in this country, or else we're just going to be continuing these same problems.
Just trying to make it make sense, right?
Just let it reflect what's happening.
Yeah, because I was watching, Patrick Gower on P, and we've seen what it does to a lot of people in general, and just what it does to their families. But there's a lot of people that I saw one guy on there that was just living his day, like still functionable as well. What are your thoughts on people that are just still able to function, but are still like cause the guy he said he was addicted to pee, but he was able to function throughout the day. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a bloody worry, and there will be some people like that. But look, let's face it, it's not going to go on forever. And I'm sure people can get through some years maybe functioning on P, but anyone who's listening will know, look, it's not going to last forever, and there will be downsides to that. But that's one of the worries here, that we have people who just live on
their
P.
day to day.
Yeah, live their day to day on that, and we need to get them off it.
Yeah, definitely, because there's so much money that's just going down the drain, especially for them as well.
Yeah, that's right.
It's becoming almost like normalized, right? Like around these ways, like it's so accessible, is what I'm trying to say. Is like there's so much people that like MDMA, and you see people talking about it all the time, and even on like Instagram stories and that. It's crazy to see that how accessible and how more normalized it's becoming.
Yeah, and if you look on Instagram stories or TikTok, there's a lot of humour around drug use, and it has become very normalised. And the other weird thing is, it's legal in this country to test your MDMA. So you can go and get your MDMA tested so that you are actually getting MDMA and not this other crap that actually could kill you, right?
How is that possible, right?
But technically MDMA is a Class B drug. I'm of the opinion, well, look, aren't we better to, maybe not have the charges and expand the testing so that people at least know that they're getting MDMA, which, it's got some downsides.
Yeah.
And if you use it wrong, things could go wrong. But most of the time, actually MDMA is not going to hurt the person using it.
True.
They're going to have a fun time and give out a few hugs, But what is going to hurt them is if they end up taking fentanyl or something that is shoved in there by some gangster, and that could actually kill them.
Yeah.
So the big danger around MDMA is actually getting something that isn't MDMA, which is just totally weird, and you can get it legally tested, but if you got caught with it by the cops, and well, technically you'd be getting a massive jail sentence. Like the whole thing's sort of pretty screwed up.
It's very strange, right?
Yeah, it's very strange, and MDMA, it's a good one to talk about. It's become, it's so widely used. Like, we've got to kind of own up to that as a nation, put our hand up and just go, we are using a shitload of MDMA in this country.
Yeah.
What have we got the laws right?
Very true, man. And we've seen you also talking to the cartel.
Yeah.
What's that been like, man? Is that nerve-wracking, like, talking to these, like, drug lords and all that stuff?
Yeah. We, I talked to a Mexican cartel about methamphetamine, but bro, I won't say I'm any kind of hard ass, because I was shitting myself, and also it was over Zoom. They were a whole continent away, and the Pacific was in between us. So I don't know what that kind of makes me if I was still nervous and it was over Zoom, and I could have canned the guy. I was like, yeah, okay, see you later, goodbye.
Yeah.
That's the only way I really like to talk to gangsters is through Zoom.
Just
Zoom. Yeah. So if anyone's ever thinking, oh yeah, Patty's this hard ass, it's just like, yeah, no, I only interview gangsters through Zoom.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it can get a bit nerve-wracking. How's it been on your mental health and stuff like that, in terms of like having to deal with all the drugs and talking to all these people? And
look, on my mental health, bro, it has been, investigating drugs has been the best thing that ever happened. You know why? Because a couple of things. I learned that people who get addicted to drugs, don't judge them. It's not just them being weak or something like that. It might be, a disease of their mind, society, all of these kinds of things. Never ever judge anyone who's addicted, and that's made me a much better person. Yeah. So that's been awesome for my mental health. I really work hard now on not judging anyone. And for me also, bro, I realised through my alcohol documentary that I had a problem with alcohol. And I've kicked that into touch. I'm coming up 12 months sober. I'm 11 months and, maybe 14 days or something like that right now. Yeah. And that's been the best 11 months and 14 days of my life. I've said goodbye to alcohol, and that has given me, more energy, more drive, more vibe, more life, more love than ever before, and I recommend it to any one of your listeners who wants to. You know, people can keep drinking if they want, I don't care. Yeah. But if there are people out there listening who want to go sober, I fucking love it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
How's the response been from the people? Like, you know, from a lot of people that have been watching. I bet you get a lot of people like messaging, man, this documentary really helped me out. What's the response been?
Yeah, and with alcohol in particular, it's been mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Because I think in this is, you know, in the New Zealand that we live in, like, you know, it's really hard to be not a drinker because we've got so much booze and stuff around us. It's kind of everywhere. It's on Christmas Day. It's at work. It's, you know, it's
in our culture, right?
It's
like,
in our culture.
Yeah,
it's sort of
crazy.
everywhere. So when someone wants to like get out of it and do something else, it's really, really hard for them. So yeah, I love getting the feedback from the Kiwis, you know, because it was a big thing to, you know, go on national TV and say I'm an alcoholic. Like, you know, before I did it, the morning before, I was like, holy shit. You know, this is what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
But as soon as I did it, you know, there were so many people that came out and said, hey, man, I'm the same as you. You know, I've been binge drinking all my life. I don't know how to give up, and it's wrecking my life, you know, and that just gave me a huge amount of strength. And I think when people watch my documentaries, they see me. Or they see themselves, and that's awesome, and that's the way that we should be communicating to each other. We've got to pull down all of the barriers and all of the crap around the things that we talk about, and just get down to business.
Yeah,
and that's what I try and do with my documentaries.
Do you feel like there's like a lot of awareness around like our culture of like, you know, alcohol and drugs in general? Do you feel like we need to kind of educate our younger rangatahi beforehand? Like,
yeah, bro. I think we need to own up to what we're doing.
Yeah.
Own up to what's happening. And start to work with the reality. Like, it is a lot easier as a parent to be like my parents were and just say, hey, drugs are bad. Do not do them. Absolutely do not do them. You will go to jail and you will die.
Yeah.
Like, that is
just the hard facts of it.
That's the hard facts, and that's the way that I was parented, and you know, there's nothing against that, and it does help parenting, I guess, because you've got that sort of armory, right? But the facts are, actually, you know, despite what mum and dad say, you know, there is a whole nother world out there where we do use drugs, where we do use MDMA, where people do smoke a little bit of weed here and there, and actually they don't cause any kind of problems. You know, they have a perfectly normal life. Yeah. And the question is whether, you know, we need to kind of be more realistic and have more open and honest conversations as a society and as families about what we do about all this, or if we just kind of keep it off in a little box. And keeping it off in a little box has not worked. So my view is we need to do something else.
Open it up and just start talking about it, right?
Open it up and whoa, holy heck, it's not going to, you know, I'm not saying it's going to be pretty or some sort of paradise, you know, like it, but still like, you know, rip it open and like, whoa, okay.
Get the kids well equipped for the big bad world that is coming. Because, you know, I seen like on, you know, on P and that there was a lady and she was only 16, man. She was living a great life like prior to all of that, and then just got introduced to drugs and just everything went downhill for her, right? So, I mean, introducing the kids to like just education around drugs and the culture and that we have here in New Zealand is probably a better take, right? Yeah,
and parents as well, so they don't feel ashamed or like they've failed or all this sort of thing, because, you know, they that's what happens as well with it. So yeah, it's a really interesting area.
Yeah, well, you've tackled like, I mean, you've been on you've pretty much seen the whole world of how everybody's been handling their drugs and all that. What's the attitudes or the behaviors between the differences between Australia and New Zealand? Like, is there a massive gap, or are we in the same boat?
Australia, in some parts, are starting to decriminalise their drugs. So if you go to Canberra, you know, the capital, and you get caught with a small amount of weed or a small amount of MD, or, you know, a small amount of mushrooms, you will just get a warning from the cops. True. Yeah. So they don't bother to sort of lock people up for small amounts or anything like that. They've moved on.
Yeah.
So this whole idea of not locking people up for small amount of drugs, this isn't some sort of far off Neverland fairy tale. Like, this is actually happening over the ditch.
Yeah.
Aussie. They're doing it. Like, you know, they're not even talking about it, they're doing it. Like, you know, if you're walking down the street there, or if you're off to a festival or party or something like that, you know, you're kind of good to go. And that just seems to be a bit more of a sort of where we need to get to, get the cops to focus on something else.
Start taking a bit more notes from across the dish.
Yeah. As much as I hate to say it, sometimes I'll just have good ideas.
Very true. And, you know, what is your hopes of the documentary and that? Like, what are your hopes that people can take away from this?
Yeah, well, first of all, I hope that people crack up laughing when they see me at a party where some dudes take a whole lot of MDMA and absolutely hug the living hell out of me. You know, like they're just all around me, like these guys on MDMA just giving me the biggest hugs and I love you, Patrick. And like I was just like in this massive man hug of all these guys. That's the opening scene. They're like 6 or 7 20-year-olds just fully around me, high on MDMA, giving me this gigantic hug. Yeah, so I hope people get lots of laughs out of that. But I hope people just think a bit more about, you know, what's happening out in the world and what's happening with drugs and, you know, what our laws are doing to us and what the good bits that we can get for drugs and the bad bits that we can guard against. That's all I hope for, bro, is that people think.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
And you know, what can we do as individuals? Like what can like people like myself out there can we do to help out with the
I think the number one thing that people can do with drugs, especially as we come into Christmas and New Year's, is get them tested. If you're gonna use them, actually get them tested. Getting drugs tested is legal now. It's all good. Either you can buy the testing kits yourselves and do it yourselves, or you can go down to one of the legal places and do it. Make sure that what you take is actually what you want to take. You know, make sure that it is MDMA and not fentanyl and not bar salts and stuff like that.
Yeah, something that's laced in
you know,
there.
that's right. You know, make use of these laws that are there to make sure that if you are taking it, you know, you've got to educate yourself and you've got the right stuff. Otherwise, my other message is don't judge people who are addicted, even if they've let you down, betrayed you, and multiple times in many cases. If you love them, you've got to see through their addiction and try and help them and realize that they are not the person that is betraying you. That is someone who has been taken over by most likely the evil drug methamphetamine. So don't judge anyone who is addicted. If you're going to use drugs, make sure it's good quality MDMA that's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, they sound, isn't it weird? They're crazy messages, eh? Like
Yeah,
that's
it
drugs.
is, but
You're
like,
sort of like
the reality is
we've got all of this happening from them. We've got, you know, people hugging the hell out of each other on MDMA, and then we've got people addicted to pee, stealing off the olds and stealing off everyone else, and you know, there's no sort of right or wrong answer around drugs.
There's just a whole
there's
side
a
of
whole
everything.
there's a whole lot of shit going on.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. So what's next for Patrick Gower, man? What is on the cards for you? Patty Gower on. What's the next? What's the next mish?
Yeah. Look, I've got my own show coming out next year called Patty Gower Has Issues. It's going to be, I've got a lot of issues, and Patty Gower Has Issues is going to be coming out, and you know, I'll be looking into more of this sort of stuff that's affecting society on a bit more of a regular basis.
Yeah.
So yeah, bro, that's going to keep me busy.
Here's a few suggestions for. We got Patty Gower on missing clothes in the washing machine.
Yeah.
Where did they go, bro?
Okay, yeah, like socks. Like, where the hell?
You got to get an investigation on that, please.
No, bro, I'll do that. So Patty Gower has on missing socks. So where are all my black Nike ankle socks? Like, I swear, man, every time there's a sale at Rebel Sport, I go in, I buy a 3-pack. Okay, but still, I can never find them.
One's missing, and you're
I'm
just
always
like,
down to
where the
one.
hell's the other one?
Yeah, I'm always down to one. So yeah, missing socks. That's my first thing. What's my next project?
We got another one. Patty Gower on where is Props Boy from? What now?
I know where he is.
Oh,
I know where Props Boy is. Yeah, so I'll do that. Yeah, I know exactly where Props Boy is. He's a good man.
Yeah.
And no, let's launch this investigation. Where is Props Boy? And I know where he is.
Where's Props Boy from? What now?
He's
man?
married. He's married. I'll give you some industry gossip. Well, I'll tell you where he is, so we won't be able to do the doco. He's married to Kano Aloy.
Oh,
okay, so I know exactly where Props Boy is. So we solved that mystery. Shit, this is fun. What's next?
We've got Patty Gower solves why Niueans always wrap up their food and take it to the boot before they feed themselves.
Why Niueans wrap up their food, take it to the boot,
and then they go and feed themselves? Why is that? We need an investigation.
Yeah,
on that.
why is that? What are these Niueans doing? So they wrap it, then take it to the boot.
They make a plate for them for the boot of the car, and then they go and feed themselves. Man, we need an investigation.
Yeah, we need to do that. Where's that food going to?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Get me to some Niueans right now. Okay. Yeah.
Oh man, Petty bro, we just want to say.
Yeah, you should be able to solve that for me.
You know.
You know.
Chuck me on the show, man.
You're one of these guys. You're one of these guys putting food in the boot.
I'm trying to break the culture.
Yeah, you've got to break this culture, man.
I'm trying to break the cycle.
We got to have people, break the cycle of putting food in the boot. Like that is
the
one
boot
thing.
Before we feed the ourselves, man.
Yeah, do not feed the boot before you feed yourselves.
Oh my gosh,
man.
Hey, Paddy, we just want to say thank you so much for coming on through, man. It's been an honor to have you on. Where can we see the show tonight?
Yeah, well, listen, you're not going to be able to watch the show unless you make sure that there's no food in the boot. I'm not going to tell you when it is, man. I'm going to blackmail you. You're not going to be able to watch anything until I see. Yeah, you promised me there's no food in the boot.
Nah, man, we good.
Okay, the show's on at 8:40 p.m. tonight on 3, and if you don't see it there because you're putting your food in the boot, you can watch it on 3 now.
Oh my gosh!
Food in the boot. What's that about?
Hey, I'm gonna jump on there and I'll figure it out myself. All right? Appreciate you, Paddy.